Hello, we have a little bonus episode for you today. On our last call, we're having some conversation ahead of the our recording, and it was just so good. We decided we wanted to share it with you. We were talking about goal setting, and if whether you go, yes, goals, give me all the smart goals, or whether you're like, man, don't even talk to me about goals. This is an episode for you. Super short, but maybe a new take that might make goal setting a little different than it's been before. Maybe it'll make it something doable if it's something you've resisted before, or maybe if you've been mired in the SMART goals and you've felt the success, but also the failure and the disappointment that can come with that. This episode's for you. Give a listen, and thanks for being here. Welcome, welcome to our first bonus episode. We just had so much good content, like I said earlier, that we really wanted to share this with you. So today, Lois and Lisa and I talk about goal setting. And it can be something that can be a little tricky, a little exhilarating, but also a little disappointing. But we have maybe some gentler takes, maybe a softer take, maybe something that's more manageable, more doable for you. None of us are traditional New Year's resolution makers. But if you're interested in a different approach, maybe something that's a little more workable for you, stay tuned. And thanks for being here with us.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Yeah.
Do
And
you,
Oh,
actually,
crazy.
go ahead, Lisa.
I was gonna say, do you all make resolutions?
Well, I don't particularly make New Year's resolutions, but I'm a very goal-oriented person. So I found what works for me is I have this like general picture of where I want to go and who I
Hmm.
want to be and how I want to be. And then I make my 90 days. I found that that's as long as my focus lasts for something really. And often when I do it that way, I can focus on it for 90 days. And then at the end of the 90 days, often it carries over into the next one. Whereas if I go, I'm going to do this by the end of the year. So as far as, the traditional New Year's resolutions, not really, but I just ongoing every 3 months, I do a new 90-day plan.
And the interesting thing about that is they say it takes 90 days to create a habit. So,
How about you, Lois?
That's what they say. Yeah, I used to be very goal oriented. Sorry, I'm just going to get my dog. S'mores, come. I don't want her barking. S'mores,
Hmm.
come. Um, I I I used to be very goal oriented up, and I think with a lot of, how can I say, unexpected things happening in life, hardships that come in and kind of blow up your dreams.
Hmm.
Uh, it's easy to become disillusioned with goal setting because I took on a posture, I realized, that kind of was like, well, I set a goal and it gets blown away, so what's the point?
Hmm.
So I do still now set goals, but I feel like they're markers as opposed to like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
hit this thing,
Yeah.
because it's like, if you don't have a goal or you don't have a direction you're going in, then you're just floating, right?
Hmm.
And without a vision, you perish. So definitely I do, but I still feel like I'm on the journey of defining how do I set goals and what are goals really, and how
Hmm.
are they not something that makes me feel, this is where I was, like I just failed.
Hmm.
And every time I can't hit the target because, well, it sounds like I'm blaming others, but because it's like life happens. We live
Yeah.
with people who are in our space, especially as mothers, right? And especially as now caregivers for seniors. It um, our time is not always our own.
Yeah.
It's the reality. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's the choice I make. I choose to be a mother. I choose to. So I'm setting those goals and I'm hitting those goals.
Yeah. And I think it's that to me, that's one of the real, the, I don't want to say pitfall, the dangers that we can hit when we do goal setting, because a lot of how we're taught is, all the productivity mindset and all that kind of stuff. And it's, I think a couple of things. First of all, it creates the illusion that we're in control. And when we set goals out, okay, and there is a place, let me just say this, there's a place for SMART goals, but I have an issue kind of with SMART goals because it is so like linear. And it's very, and again, that illusion that we're in control. And so if we set those SMART goals and we're super motivated and all of that stuff, and then something happens and we're not able to complete it, then it does leave us feeling like, the sense of failure and like, man, if I was just more motivated, if I was just more this, and that's a real pitfall because I don't think, I mean, if we think again, turn to a perfect example, do we have any example of Christ ever doing that?
Yeah.
And it's a whole different um it I have found, well, a couple of things, masculine and feminine energy. And that approach is much more the masculine, just direct, da, 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 da. And because traditionally, so much of our history is built around in business, especially the masculine perspective. There, it's very easy to understand where that came from. And I'm not knocking that because I know that there needs to be a balance between that masculine and the feminine energy. And I found for myself that I don't feel like you were talking about, Lois, that sense of failure when I don't meet my goal and all that. Now I approach my goals with a lot more feminine energy balanced with that. And so it's much more, um, like I said, my main thing is my direction. What direction am I going? And so for me, the 90-day goals, every 3 months I kind of go, okay, is what I'm doing taking me toward who I want to be? And I think that's an important thing with when we talk about goal setting too, is not just focusing on the doing, but who do we want to be? Like there's a song I listen to every morning. It's called When All Is Said and Done. And basically, the gist of the song is at the end, when everything's said and done, am I going to be the person that when I will I kneel in wonder at Jesus' feet, and will I have done the things that I was created to do? And 20 years ago, the things that I thought that was, the specific things are not necessarily all applying. Some of them do, but much more of it's like, okay, well, it's not in that format, but it's about the person that I became by changes I've made in the last 20 years. And that's where I want to be. So maybe, no, I didn't ever, record this thing or do that thing, but did I get to who I wanted to be that I thought 20 years ago that that was the path to that? And actually, this ended up being the path to it, but I still got to the place. And so it's more about, to me, I think, who I want to be, how I want to have used my life, and bringing that down to a real, minute in the minute kind of decision. Yesterday, I was working on some things that were important. I was scheduling some podcasts and doing things that were important to me that I know are part of my mission. And my daughter calls and says, "Do you want to go to Hobby Lobby?" And, my old smart goal productive self would have said, "I'm sorry, I have things that I have to do." And in that moment yesterday, it was like, you know what? This daughter is not going to be around forever. And so when she was coming home from work, she stopped in to pick me up and she's like, "What do you need a hobby lobby?" I said, "I need nothing. What I need is time with you." So there we go. Um, and that kind of, old kind of thinking would have been, I flushed away my responsibilities I should have been doing in that hour and a half. And instead, I went and ran off and did something with my daughter. That's not being motivated. That's not being productive. But now, from this perspective, it's like, nope, because taking that time and ditching my responsibilities um, to just go and have some time with my daughter, that that fuels what I ultimately want to be at the end of things. That's what I want to be. And so to me, it's like keeping kind of that, who do I want to be? How do I want to be? And then let the details of how I get there be very fluid.
And isn't that the beauty of aging gracefully? Truly,
Yeah.
part of that, those realizing what's important. And the other thing I was thinking as you were saying that is, what's the difference between, a vision, when we have a vision and we can allow God to work through that. It's not saying we shouldn't ever have an agenda or,
Hmm.
things like that, but boy, when we can let go and let God, like if you weren't doing that, you would have missed that beautiful time with your daughter.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
20 years from now, it's going to be way more important that I just took that moment with her. Like, nothing spectacular happened. We went to Hobby Lobby.
Hmm.
She was getting things, and it ended, if you look at what was supposed to be accomplished, it ended up being a bust because she was going to buy things for for her company, and then her company card wouldn't work, and so she was not even able to buy the things initially. So we walked out of there empty-handed. Um, but it was just, 20 years from now, just that moment, I won't remember it, she won't remember it, but it made that deposit in that emotional bank account that's what's going to matter 20 years from now, rather than I got all those podcasts scheduled on Thursday or Wednesday when I wanted to.
Yeah. It's the relationships, right? It's investing
Hmm.
in in really it's the eternal. The relationships are investing in the big picture things.
Hmm.
It's not the little nitty gritty kind of things. I think I used to be very task oriented
Hmm.
and measure success by tasks as opposed to relationships. And
Hmm.
so, and some people are all about relationships. I've grown into valuing relationships more, but yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Thanks for joining us for our little bonus episode of Wisdom from the Wow. We hope that this was helpful to you and maybe gave you a little bit of a new perspective or some encouragement when it comes to going after the things you want and creating the life that you seek. If it was helpful and you liked it, then maybe consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Thanks. We'll see you next time.